I didn't say anything about his teeth because I'm a nicer person than I should be.
What's with your teeth?
What is with my teeth?
They're all yellow and messed up.
That's terrible.
Hello friends, welcome back to ReddX, your source for the freshest daily cringe content anywhere on the internet. Promise swearsies, it's just a fact and it's totally science. Go ahead and look it up. Pulled a couple of Neckbeard one-offs from my personal subreddit r/ReddX reads today, so we'll get into them and see just what it is we've got. I went to high school with an alleged predator. Oh boy, somebody call Chris Hansen, get him in here.
Why don't you have a seat?
Hello Reddit, hi Mr. Rando. I've been trying to post onto either r/Tales of Neckbeards or r/NeckbeardStories, but I kept getting a message saying empty response from server, so I thought I'd try my luck in another subreddit. I'm actually a moderator on both of those, and I don't know why that would happen. There is a karma requirement, but you seem to meet it, whatever. I've already posted this story before, but there were a lot of other things I've either misremembered or forgotten about, and some interesting things have happened since then, so I thought I'd retell this story with both corrections and updates. Before I get into it, I'd like to let you know that most of this is either secondhand or word of mouth, so feel free to take everything that I say here with a rather large grain of salt. I always do. Also, most of the important events of this story happened between the time frame of 2019 to early 2020, when I was in high school, so my memory might be a little bit fuzzy. Honestly, that's more of a current event than most of the stuff we've been doing lately. Go off! I feel it'd be appropriate to give a cast list because really, what's a Neckbeard story without a cast list? Hey man, it's your show, do what you want to do. Mr. Rando, you're OP! I'm an autistic guy who likes video games, drawing, and internet cringe. I like those things too, except I can't draw. While I did have a small group of friends in high school, I was the kind of guy who didn't really have anything going on besides school and my job, so nothing could have prepared me for what happened here. Yes, all part of living and learning, isn't it? Life comes at you fast. Private is OP's brother. He's sort of the main character in this story. He's 2 years younger than me, and I've decided to name him Private because he joined the US Army in 2022. I mean, yeah, that is a branch of service that you could join. No, but seriously, thank you for your service. He's extremely tolerant of quirky and strange people, especially back in high school, but he has very little tolerance for people who are either sleazy or especially annoying. You have to screw up royally in order to make this guy hate you. And that's what beards are good at, which brings us to Handsy, the alleged predator. I think we had a Handsy beard before. I don't think we had just Handsy. I'll allow it. He's close to my age, and upon first impression, he doesn't even seem particularly neckbeardy. In fact, he didn't even have a beard. He didn't really have anything that made him stick out from a crowd, aside from having a considerable amount of acne on his face and a distinct lack of chin. Leafy is here. One would have been forgiven for thinking that he was just another nerdy guy, but through his actions, he has proven himself to be a wolf in sheep's clothing, someone who would fish for pity as a way to manipulate people into giving him whatever it is he wants, which would often be forgiveness for his past actions that made him look absolutely horrible. Yes, while some of the stuff I'll be talking about here is technically speculation, he has admitted to doing what people have accused him of doing sometime before 2019. Doesn't that make it not speculation anymore? Huh. Here's one more important thing of note before I get on with the story. Major trigger warnings for threats of violence, assault, emotional manipulation, a couple mentions of Mr. Pat O'Filey, and a good amount of high school drama. Consider yourself warned. I love high school drama. High school is a serious thing.
These problems matter.
Handsy's an ex-friend of Private's. I met him at some point in 2016 when he'd come over to our house to play video games and watch YouTube, as friends are wont to do. Why's Private hanging out with the older kids? Or maybe it's Handsy who's trying to hang out with the younger kids, Private would also go over to Handsy's place a few times, and I thought nothing of it. In around February or March of 2017, I went with Private to spend the night at Handsy's. Not because I wanted to hang out with him, but rather because we were without internet at the time, and I was and still am addicted to the internet. Aren't we all? Looking back, his living situation, wasn't the best. His parents were on the older side, so much so that I thought they were his grandparents, and I think they might have lived in a trailer. You think? That is a they did or didn't situation. It's just like a trailer that's bolted to the ground. Trailer with a little foundation under it. I remember the inside being small, dimly lit, messy, and also having quite a few cats. I guess his mom was a bit of a crazy cat lady. Private also recalls the house smelling like cat litter and cat pee, which I didn't really remember. Honestly, there are a lot of things that I've either forgotten about him or repressed from the time frame of 2016 to 2017 because I've had a few moments of horrible neckbeardism, but that's a story for another time. Sus. Shortly after, I went to Handsy's with Private. Our mother forbid Private from going back there because Handsy's younger brother, who was 10 at the time, had confessed to being gay, and that disturbed her. Interesting, we're painting a picture here. Being a woman who grew up in the 80s in a conservative Christian family, she was and still is somewhat ignorant when it comes to LGBT plus people. I don't think she's really homophobic or transphobic, just ill-informed. Well, we'll agree to disagree on that. She's had years to get herself informed, but I digress. Anyways, I wouldn't see Handsy again until my junior year in 2018. Nothing too major happened that year, but we did share a Spanish class, and when Super Smash Bros. Ultimate came out, I'd play against him whenever we didn't have work to do. During this time, I considered Handsy a friend, especially during senior year in 2019, which was when I was seated next to him in computer applications class. That year, Private told me why he stopped being friends with Handsy. There were rumors going around that Handsy was guilty of sexual assault. I don't remember how many victims there were. I've been told that he had at least 3 victims, but I also vaguely remember someone claiming that he had victimized as many as 13, though I could be misremembering that. As I've also been told, one of those victims might have been as young as 13 years old. So here's a list of stories that Private has told me. Wait, pause, stop. Tell me that you stopped being friends with him. Tell me that you kicked his ass or something. Surely there are repercussions. Okay, fine, I'll wait. But you better tell me exactly that at some point, OP. Private told me about this one time that Handsy attempted to follow Handsy's then girlfriend down the hallway, and when she later confronted him, he claimed he had multiple personalities and they were to blame for this behavior. Oh, we've been seeing that so much lately. I really need to get that fake disorder cringe video off the ground. If I remember correctly, he named his dark side Zelda or some other name that starts with Z. Zelda's the girl, dude. There is a shadow Link. Is that what you're going for? At least name yourself something cool like Zoltan. Zoltan! Private told me about this other time when Handsy told another girl something along the lines of, "If you don't beg me, then I'll shoot up the school." Oh my god. I guess this is like a new type of extortion. Emo kids went the way of the dinosaurs. It's like, I don't hurt myself anymore. I threaten to hurt others. Okay, cool. Well, I report you to the police.
Officer, right there. FBI, come on in, fella.
Private also told me that one of the girls he set his sights on was a freshman, even though Handsy was 18 at the time, if I'm correct. Gross, dude. Gross. They're both still in high school, but ain't no way I'm gonna sign off on this. Does he not have a peer group that pressures him into doing the right thing? I think it was in 10th grade my buddy was dating a younger girl and we all just mocked him mercilessly over it.
She said she was 12.
Until he broke up with her. Allegedly, whenever anyone called Handsy out about his BS over the internet, he'd cry to his mother, accusing them all of cyberbullying him. You know, you could log off and go outside and not be bullied anymore. Alternatively, stop doing heinous things and not be bullied anymore. There's many ways out of this situation. I've also been told that his mother babied him and wasn't a good parent, so I wouldn't be surprised if she believed him and defended his actions. I don't think I had a lot of sense back then, but I was just smart enough to realize that I did not want to associate with a predator. There you go, that's what I was waiting for. Cut and run. I think it's interesting that the mom babied him and wasn't a good parent. Usually, not a good parent means neglectful, but I guess the snowplow parent thing isn't very helpful either. And it does sort of stand to reason, because clearly the kid thinks he could do whatever the hell he wants. During computer applications class, I kinda gave him the silent treatment, promising myself to never talk to him again. However, one day at lunch, I intentionally avoided sitting at a table where Handsy was going to be, and he noticed this. Later that day, a friend of mine, who happens to be a girl, told me that Handsy told her that the reason why I stopped talking to him is because I hate him. All this gossip, all this cheese flying around. To be fair, Handsy wasn't wrong about me hating him, but I really wasn't okay with him telling people about it. Man, I wouldn't even get caught up in that. Just keep it moving. In fact, I have a suspicion that this might have been his attempt to drag me back into the mess that he'd made. Or this might have been his attempt to guilt her into banging him out of pity, even though she is a lesbian. Honestly, my thoughts on it? Yeah, he's doing both. Why not both?
Both is good.
Later that day, at computer applications, I told Handsy why I stopped talking to him. I told him that I no longer felt comfortable talking to him after being told that he had done some very bad things. His response? He told me that the rumors are true, and that he had done those bad things a while ago, but I think that was when I tuned him out and focused on my work. Yeah, that's basically confirmation. Go die at this point. I will give Handsy a bit of credit for being honest and admitting what he did, because while it doesn't make his actions any less deplorable, I think it's better than denying that it happened at all. I guess, marginally. But I took him speaking in the past tense with a grain of salt. I had a suspicion that he was trying to tell me that it had happened in the past, but he was lying about doing it more recently, or that it's all in the past and everyone should stop bothering him over what he saw as minor transgressions and just leave him alone. I mean, maybe you should have clarified, but if you did it at basically any point, I don't really want to know you. That's not normal human behavior. You ruin these girls' lives. They feel unsafe at school because you can't control your own cum brain. Later in the school year, I stopped seeing Handsy in class or even in the hallways. I'd heard a rumor that he was being interviewed by a detective. Oh yeah, time to do some jail time, time to do some jail time.
I'm going to jail!
I have no idea what exactly happened, but at the time, the fact that he was able to return to class made me think that he somehow managed to weasel his way out of trouble by pulling the wool over the detective's eyes with his "oh, woe is me" routine. Yeah, detectives don't fall for that. They're looking at the facts. They're building a case. I want this kid to get buried under the jail. Let's fast forward a bit to when my senior year was cut short by a disease that was sweeping the globe in 2020. Yeah, I remember the before times. I was shopping at my local Walmart and I saw Handsy in uniform. I felt like that gave me enough reason to believe that Handsy had absolutely no consequences, but I have since learned that it is possible for sex offenders to get jobs, even if they've been caught up in a Chris Hansen sting operation. It's just really hard for them to keep a job. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine, honestly. Oh, I'm sure he's on a list. He was 18 during these events. I'm sure he's on a list. Sometime after that, Private told me that he got another job at Dunkin' Donuts, and by the next year, Private saw him working at Dollar General. I think I have an idea as to why he can't hold down a job for very long. Back when Handsy worked at Dunkin' Donuts, Private told me that Handsy had made his order, and he told him something along the lines of, I didn't think you'd ever speak to me again. Huh, I wonder why. He apparently tried to make small talk with Private by saying, I'd just like for you to know that I'm not like that anymore. I don't care. Before going off on a tangent on his Red Hood costume for Halloween, Private was basically like, okay, can I have my coffee, please? We don't go to that Dunkin' Donuts no more. I have no idea how to organically work this into the story, but at some point during one of my conversations with Handsy, I noticed how disgusting his teeth were. This is always the worst part for me. They were thin, yellow, and crooked. Oh, no black spots. That's good. We haven't noted any gum disease. Maybe it's gonna be okay. I didn't say anything about his teeth because I'm a nicer person than I should be.
What's with your teeth?
What is with my teeth?
They're all yellow and messed up.
That's terrible.
Now, I'm not one to shame someone for the way that they look, but that's a little different from noticing when someone's oral hygiene is lacking. Yeah, dude, that stinky bacteria wind right in your face, we're not doing this. Having teeth that rotten seems like a massive red flag to me. Yeah, he definitely don't care for himself, that is confirmed. Also, I've talked about what happened with a former coworker of mine who went to the same school as me, and she told me that she was one of the girls that he assaulted. I felt like that gave me enough reason to believe that all the rumors were true and that the student body wasn't conspiring against Handsy. I mean, even without that piece of evidence, why would the student body conspire against him? These are the consequences of your own actions, and denying it's not gonna help. Speaking of work, I've seen Handsy shopping at my job a few times in 2021, and I avoided being within arm's reach of him because I want to stay as far away from him as possible. Also, at some point, Handsy texted private to try and apologize for his actions, while also downplaying them by saying, he was just depressed at the time. That's what makes you feel better? A handful of unwilling ass? Jump off a bridge, bro. I'm serious. Until you apologize to absolutely everyone and make some changes within yourself, I'm hoping the worst. No joke. Private wasn't having any of this and told him, I don't care! Come near me or my girlfriend again, and I will beat your ass. That's the right line. Now let's fast forward to June of 2023. I came home from work while Private was visiting, and I was greeted to him standing with a police officer who looked vaguely familiar to me. Oh, that detective been building this case for years. I then saw the cop seemingly arrest Private by getting him onto the ground and handcuffing him. As it turns out, this was a prank done by an old friend of Private's from our high school days. Haha, hilarious. I thought I was gonna lose all my freedom. The friend was a cop who decided to stop by before going to work. However, while the arrest was a prank, he actually did pepper spray Private before getting him on the ground. And thus, Private was in agony. Dude, I didn't even think the prank was funny with the handcuffs. You throw pepper spray in the mix? Now I'm just pissed. We're not friends anymore. These aren't pranks anymore. I'm out to get you. Who would ever think that this was a good idea? According to Private, that experience was worse than being subjected to mustard gas. Can confirm. While he was washing off the pepper spray over the kitchen sink, I figured that since the cop went to the same school as us and had met Handsy, I thought I'd ask if he had seen him around. And at this, I received a surprising bit of news. Not only was Handsy's father in jail, but Handsy himself had a warrant for his arrest because he failed to show up in court. I forgot to ask why it was that he had to show up to court, but I then asked the cop if he had heard of what Handsy had been accused of back in high school, and he hadn't. Needless to say, he was shocked at this revelation. I mean, bench warrant's no big thing, but I want to know the actual reason that he had to be in court. I guess we'll never find out. Although he does seem to have an MO, and I'm willing to believe that the thing that he had to go to court for falls under his MO. So yes, there you have it, friends. The story of Handsy, a seemingly normal teenager who turned out to be a massive creep. And it seems that years of poor life choices have finally come to bite him, as he has now summoned the wrath of the police. Before I leave, I have one last thing to say. If you were in my situation and found out that someone that you thought was your friend is an alleged predator, what would you do? Or if you were a parent and found out that your child was acting predatory towards his classmates, what would you do? If it's my friend, I'd probably kick his ass. If it's my child, I'd probably kick his ass. And then get him into therapy. That's how we handle that. What I'm most interested in is why the school administration seemed to just turn the other cheek. They're like, yeah, we know it happened. We've heard some things, but we're not gonna address it. There's a whole lot of information missing in this story, but like I said early on, I'm hoping for the worst. There's a lot of stuff that you can atone for, ask forgiveness for, but as far as I'm concerned, putting your hands on another person, especially in this way, you can't really bring yourself back from that. Especially at such a young age. You know this is going to be a recurring theme, so good. Lock 'em up, throw away the key. I don't care no mores. Episode's looking a little bit short, so let's throw another one-off in here. Why not? We'll get over there right now. Big Beard, the sexist in the LGS. Been a second since we had an LGS tale, isn't it? But welcome to the channel, user BumbleBaby3. Alright, hi, hello. This is my first time ever posting to Reddit, but I've been listening to a lot of ReddX lately, and I wanted to send in a not so fun experience that I've had. Obligatory sorry for my writing. English is my first language. I'm just dumb. Killing me. I posted a story in the Discord of some greasy creep that referred to me as a sweet, delicate princess. If anyone wants to hear that story, I can post it here in more detail. Sounds excruciating. I'd love to read it. For a bit of background, I live in a small town. However, it's big enough to have grocery stores and a movie theater and, most importantly, a game shop. The shop put out an ad that they were looking for more DMs, and I'd been playing for nearly 6 years and already played at that shop, so I was ecstatic to apply. Paid DM gig? Yeah, count me in. I had told them about my idea of running a campaign for children to teach them how to play, and they absolutely loved that idea. Oh, we dealing with baby neckbeards here? Or you just have a big fat creep try and crash the whole thing? Alright, you got me hooked in. Important characters. OP, that's me. At the time, I was a small 17-year-old girl, and yeah, I'm definitely not the smartest person. I have a hard time remembering stuff and dealing with rules, which is why I chose to run a kid's game. Something I could keep simple while I attempted to DM for the first time. Wow, you're really throwing yourself in the deep end there. Little did I know that I would be met with the most annoying 17-year-old rules lawyer that came specifically to try and flex on me by destroying my campaign with his awesome super built characters. But that's another story entirely. Yeah, you get in there and min-max, show those 8-year-olds how it's done. Boblin, 18-year-old male. He was one of my close high school friends that also played with us. Even though he was an adult, he helped me out by teaching me how to DM, and he played often to help the kids be more confident and to help guide the story. No, that's railroading! You're railroading your players! Big Beard, the beard in this story, who was unfortunately the main worker in this store and organizer of events. There was never a time that I came in that he wasn't there. He was a huge man, both fat and tall, and he had a long white beard that he took no care of and constantly walked around barefoot, eating pizza.
Papa John's Pizza!
What? Is he the owner? I suppose not. OP just says main worker. Tell the owner he's walking around barefoot eating pizza. I don't think that's normal. I don't know why it tickles me so much. I don't know if he smelled bad because I kept the most distance between us that I possibly could. Oh, and also, he is very sexist. You do get that a lot at the game shop, unfortunately. Less important characters who pop up are Princess, female, 9, my little sister, who doesn't really have much of a part in the story, but for imagination purposes, it's important you know that this tiny, sassy cheerleader was attached to my hip during all these events. She's a nerd in training and is begging me to let her DM. Hell yeah, get 'em hooked while they're young, you know? The owner, oh, the actual owner, who was almost entirely oblivious to his workers' actions, and was actually a very nice man. Then I say this as gently as possible, maybe you should inform him of what's going on. He was really more of a landlord than an owner. It was more so that he was a nerd that owned the building as well as other businesses, and he had other people actually running the place. I should have told him, but I don't think anything would have come of it. Honestly, if nothing comes of it, then that's his mistake. You'd probably have more people in this game shop if you didn't have a creep running it. Which is a theory that was thrown around in one of our last game shop tales. You want to attract some normal people that'll spend some good money? Don't let these creeps hang out in there. Anyway, here's all the main things that happened. I was entering the shop for the second session when I spied the TV that ran ads for the D&D campaigns. It was my kid's campaign ad. The only issue was that my name wasn't under the DM spot. Boblin's was. Assuming it was a mistake, I made a joke to Big Beard saying, I didn't know Boblin was running the kids campaign. He responded with, "Why do you care?" I was taken aback by this question. Because I am the one that's running the kids D&D. Big Beard. My bad. I thought that was a mistake, because we don't have any female DMs. Female. So let me get this straight. You saw my name on the list, noticed that it was quite possibly a lady's name, and decided to bump me from the slot despite this being the second week. Obviously, OP was there the first week. Mush for brains over here ain't even paying attention. I giggled nervously as I walked back to the kids' table to play with them. Spoiler alert, the ads and flyers were never fixed, and every child that came in always asked where Boblin was, and some even left because they thought the real DM wasn't there. Damn, dude, brutal. At this point, yeah, tell the owner. At least see what happens. At least see if he does nothing. We can't theorize that nothing will happen. We gotta find out. On top of this, Boblin was always referred to as the DM or the main DM, and I was referred to as the co-DM. And when I corrected people, it was always, "Oh, Big Beard told us Boblin took over because you weren't doing well." I mean, it is your first DM session. I understand that you want to drive the whole ship, but it is an exceedingly difficult thing to do. To be fair to everyone, I do have to consider if there's some truth to those words. OP continues saying, I also never got paid for this job. Bro, I'm gonna burn the store down. The job as DM required an application and for you to show them your plans before each session. Each time mine was met with, you should change this or that, as if I could replan the session in 5 whole minutes. Dude, it's easy. Roll some dice, make some shit up. Like, DM is not that hard. Just make sure you know what the numbers mean. Each player had to cough up $5 per session, of which I got half, at about 5 players average, and we played once a week. It wasn't a lot, but an extra $50 a month would really help out my nerdy hobbies. Yeah, and it's kind of a fun job, if you're actually being paid for it. A few times, when I was either at an important event or sick, Boblin would take over for me and the kids, and guess who did get paid? That's right, Boblin. He got an employee card and everything. Meanwhile, I was put off every time I asked. To this day, I'm owed at least $300, but I have neither the time or the will to fight them for that money. At a certain point, it's not about the money, OP. It's about sending a message. Throw a Molotov through the window. No, don't actually do that. It's fine. Karma will make sure that this is all taken care of, okay? Big Beard often made comments about me needing to be more feminine. The worst being the face painting thing. Face painting thing? The shop often ran events with kids, mostly because they paid well and that was most of their income, such as holiday stuff and community games and movie nights, all geared towards kids. I don't know if I'm being sort of presumptuous here, but I don't really like the thought of Big Beard hanging around all these kids. I guess if he was inappropriate, it would have been mentioned, but yeah, kind of skeeves me out a little. When in the shop closer to Easter, I was setting up, and that's when Big Beard walked in. "Hey, would you be willing to help with the Easter event this weekend?" This wasn't a weird request, seeing as I did know most of the kids anyways, because of the games, so I said, sure, I don't mind. "Great. We need a feminine touch with the kids. We were hoping that you would run the face painting table." You know you could hire a professional for this, but nah, he wants to get it done for free. Then he could pocket that part of the budget. Now, I did cosplay, and I was okay at makeup, but he certainly didn't know any of that, unless he stalked my social media, but I feel as if he was maybe a bit too old for that. Maybe. I responded with saying that I didn't know how to do other people's makeup, and I wasn't comfortable touching the faces of random children with COVID having just been over. This made the Beard greatly unhappy, and instead of responding, he simply waddled away. Yeah, go harass somebody else about it. Maybe I get paid for it this time, huh? Big Beard, huh? I know you f***ing hear me back there. Later that week, I went to the Easter event, and he sat doing nothing, loudly crap-talking me about how sad the kids are, that there isn't any face painting, and how some people just aren't team players, as I stood in line with my sister. Just walk up to him, tell him, look, I am not a quasi-employee at this shop. I'm a customer. I did these things out of the goodness of my heart, and you never paid me for them. I will be telling the owner, and if you're still here next week, I'm never coming back to this shop again. Just buy all your stuff on Etsy and Amazon anyway. They got some good dice on Etsy, don't they? Anyway, beyond this, it was just more basic sexist comments about a woman's place in the world, and my campaign, and such, that he said in passing, or close enough for me to hear, but never directly towards me. Yeah, like a big, fat, overweight, bearded high school girl. If I remember any more, or if someone asked to hear about the teenage rules lawyer or the white knight Neckbeard, I'd be glad to post about it. Thanks for reading. And ReddX, if you're reading this, thank you so much for being the only thing getting me through my first trimester of nursing school. I mean, we all do what we can out here. I appreciate you watching the content, honestly. Sorry that the game shop near your house doesn't seem like one that's worth going to. I do appreciate your submission though, and if you got more stuff, throw it up. The people, they love the one-offs. So do I, honestly. Nice, easy, non-committal. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed the episode, friends. If you did, click all the buttons. I've got an RPG Horror Stories playlist awaiting you on the end card. Always remember that you are loved, you are worthy, you definitely deserve it, and I shall see you in the next one. So until then, bye-bye. Go ahead and cut them open. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine.